Can't believe he's out of bed. Mark. Any better, Shirley?
What? Oh.
Trying something exactly
Where is?
Alex, I'm looking at this. I tried.
Sounds like.
Well, you can take this back. You didn't get it to me by 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm sitting.
She had no, well, first she
I'm going to.
then getting the grass back in the street. Some of the fancy, an insult to the art.
Right.
She is.
Thanks, Dan.
In fact, she's the director of. Used to be Doug Drew's wife. Sarah was.
I just have never gone in there.
Sarah was a hand. We had only because. Yeah, we had the opportunity because of a trip. Other than that, Doug Drew's wife was a specialist.
Hope for next
And
week,
then they
they'll
moved
get back
around
up to
that into a
normal.
different role.
The weekend, actually.
But that's what Sarah was all about. Yeah, very good.
For sure.
Good to know. Yeah, I try to avoid going or anything.
Building and adding down there is very impressive.
I hated that.
They got.
I don't even have that job.
That makes a lot of sense. Because, but there's more.
Establish that.
No, it's, I moved from over in Gunderson over to Winn about a year ago. The availability of certain things here instead of going all the way to across. Still stay with my doctor. And they have a good team up there.
That's right.
So,
Glad you guys drove up there.
yeah,
Jeez.
I'm telling you. I would start my supervisor even at 11 o'clock.
So the
I'm not like that cold, even though it's gas.
Do you have the app on your phone? for
It is.
Skype?
I've just never put it
Oh,
on.
it's so handy. I'm logged in.
Just getting a sense.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I should.
It works pretty well.
I should do that.
And I can find it.
That's another one. Although I still find myself in parking lots looking for the red Subarus get to have them.
I am in the habit of putting just line it up like this. Maybe with one person, that.
You know, that Marta had loved her red Subaru.
Okay, it's 9:30. All those that so choose, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Four present at the table, one electronically. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. If you choose not to be recorded, you have the option of leaving. First item on the agenda this morning, Northeast Iowa Area on the Aging funding request. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for having us today. Did you guys get the handouts. No, I got extras, okay.
I'll take one today.
Sure. Some of them aren't as pretty, I saved on some colors, so, thank you. We do have. The free material too, that's our annual reports from fiscal year 25, so. Well, again, thanks for having us. I'm going to introduce myself. I think all of you know me. I'm Christy Wilchin, Northeast Iowa Area Agency on Aging and Operating Officer. And then with me, I have Lisa Wetzel. She's our Funds Development Director. So she helped put this information together today and we wanted to share more about the impact that we have specifically in Winneshiek County. So I'll have Lisa start off. We do like to share a little testimonial that really just does show the impact that we have on the work that we do.
So like Christy said, my name is Lisa Wetzel and I'm actually located out of our Waterloo region as Director of Grants and Development. And one of the questions that I frequently get asked, because I do get to go do this in all of our 18 counties as well as to grant funders and things like that, is, so what do you do? And a lot of people know, Meals on Wheels, Positive Meals, but really we do so much more. So I asked our case management staff, help me explain what you do, to best help people understand beyond meals. And I'm going to kind of read this word for word because I want to make sure I get it correct in their language. So our agency had received a referral for a 79-year-old woman living alone in her own home. The initial request was actually for a home modification to help her remain in her home with some accessibility needs. But during the in-person visit, the social worker identified a far greater unmet needs. She was living on a fixed income of just over $1,100 per month in Social Security, her sole source of income. Although she had previously received SNAP or Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, food stamps, benefits, they had ended years earlier, and she never reapplied. Like many older adults we serve, she found the application process was overwhelming. And she was unaware of the other benefits she was eligible to receive. She carefully budgeted her limited income and relied on faith that she would somehow manage. Our social worker provided individualized support and education about programming such as SNAP, LIHEAP, or the Low Income Heat Assistance
Program.
Thank you. The Medicare Savings Program, or MSP, property tax credits, and others. Despite being eligible for all of them, she had never applied. We assisted her in gathering documentation and completing each application. Reasoning for not applying for these things varies from the different people we serve. Sometimes it may be applications have been moved to electronic, and they may not have access to a computer or might be overwhelmed by the task of doing that. Sometimes the documentation, if you do those on paper, is so small, people can't read it or have a difficult time filling it out. So she helped with that. As a result, she was approved for SNAP benefits, receiving $48 per month. Her annual property taxes were reduced from $582 to $81.82. She was approved for the Medicare Savings Program, covering her Medicare premiums over $200 per month for the year of 2026. Altogether, the connections resulted in over $300 in monthly savings, nearly 1/3 of her total income. That was before LIHEAP assistance, because that comes on a later calendar. She'd spent her life caring for others and now had someone who was willing to come in and help her figure out ways that she could care for herself. These life-changing savings relieved significant financial stress and allowed her to find ways to remain safely and independently in her home. We're the only agency in Winneshiek County that goes into the home and helps to do these things for seniors. It's not just meals that we're providing. These are individualized services that we're going in, taking the time to assess for and helping people understand what's available right now that they qualify for, that they've worked 2 years and put into the system, and helping them find that. This is something that our staff is so good at, that we've, again, for our second term, been recognized by the National Council on Aging and awarded to become a benefits enrollment center, which is strictly to help people find benefits that they are qualify for and help them receive that. So now I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Christy and have her give you some specific numbers about what things we've gotten people hooked up with and other services we've helped to provide for directly here in your county.
Yeah, so there's just a wide range of services, we do provide to those that are 60 or older in our community. We kind of divide those services into 4 main pillars. So I'll just kind of go through those quick. So one of the pillars is we connect individuals to services that support independence. We promote active aging through some of health evidence-based programs. They're research-based to prove their impact. We provide caregiver supports. And then 4th pillar is enhancing health through nutrition services. So like Lisa mentioned, a lot of people know us by the home delivered meals, Meals on Wheels program, but that is one of our main pillars, but we do so much more. So it's our role to be the regional expert on aging. As the baby boomer population continues to mature, we're experiencing a significant shift in age demographics. In Iowa, 74 out of our 99 counties are projected to have at least 20% of their population age 65 or older. In Winneshiek County, 30% of the population is 60 or older. Easy math, right? 1 in 3 people are 60 or older. So the shift is just increasing the demand for community-based supports and services that help older adults age safely and independently. So just a few numbers I'll throw out at you, because again, this is specifically numbers of people that we've served for Winneshiek County. Even though we do serve 18 counties, these are the specific impacts in Winneshiek County. So to help older adults navigate age-related challenges, we provide information and assistance, case management, options counseling, and elder abuse prevention and awareness services. In Winneshiek County, 181 seniors received information and assistance through our toll-free line, staffed Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. Our team provides referrals, maintains a statewide database of local resources, and responds to online inquiries as well. 47 Winneshiek County residents received case management, options counseling, or return to community services, and that includes advocacy and support following a hospital discharge. For promoting active aging through health-based programs, we provided 55 individuals, providing them nutrition education and evidence-based health activities. Tai Chi is very popular. I'm sure you've seen in the paper some of our Tai Chi classes that have been in Decorah here. And that's a research-based program. It's proven to reduce falls and reduce arthritic symptoms. Caregiver support. We provide caregivers with education, access to resources, counseling, and funding for respite care to reduce stress and prevent burnout. We host a well-established caregiver support group here in Decorah twice a month. It's the first and third Thursdays of the month. First and third Mondays every month. We served 119 caregivers in Winneshiek County with these various supports and provided over 2,100 hours of respite care to them. Nutrition services, we're the cornerstone of helping older adults remain healthy and independent. We delivered 2,889 home delivered meals to homebound seniors across Winneshiek County, including rural areas, and it's not limited to just city limits. Any rural individual is able to receive a home delivered meal if they are homebound. We currently operate 2 pop-up congregate meal sites. One is at the Decorah Public Library, the 3rd Wednesday of each month. And then we recently started an auction at the community center every 3rd Tuesday of every month. And that's an opportunity to have a meal, congregate, and then we offer nutrition education at that time. In partnership with local home health agencies, we also funded over 700 hours of homemaker and personal care services for individuals who are not eligible for other assistance, helping them remain safely in their homes. So while the demand continues to grow, limited funding has resulted in waiting lists for homemaker, personal cares, respite, and home delivered meals. So these numbers would be much higher if we had additional funding. And we just work really hard at prioritizing those that are in most need. So our funding requests this year are for fiscal year 27, for approximately the 6,000 residents age 60 or older in Winneshiek County. We're respectively requesting to be included in your 2027 county budget. We are requesting 6,500. That just represents 3% of our total county investments. And you'll see that on the flyer. In fiscal year 25, NEI 3A delivered nearly $217,000 worth of services to Winneshiek County residents. So again, that 3% would be 6,500. And just be assured, all county funds remain fully invested here in Winneshiek County, directly benefiting our local older adults. I think your support just sends a clear message to older adults in this county. They're valued, supported, and not aging alone. So thank you for your time. If you have any quick questions, we certainly will be able to answer.
Who provide these services that overlap with like public health?
Overlap. I would say we're a partner with them. We provide, they provide us with referrals, and we will go out and kind of do like the benefits assistance with them. We don't provide any nursing or personal cares directly. We contract, we purchase a service agreements with local home health providers.
And the homemaker services, what are those, what is that involved?
Sure, that involves, they would go into the home and do like housekeeping, meal preparation. They might do some errands, get grocery shopping for them, laundry.
Do they have to qualify on need for those services?
Through us, we have an intake process, and they do have to have specific needs. So anybody that is able to perform those activities on their own, we're not able to provide. So they have to have like a physical need to need those services, and it's also income based too. Anything else? Questions you wanted to add, Lisa? Or
30% in Winneshiek County.
What was the state, projected state average number?
Um,
Or 65?
yeah, I guess in Iowa here, it was, let's see, the number was 70, what was the number? 74 out of our 99 counties. They're projected to have at least 20% of the population 65 or older. So here in Winneshiek County, about 1 in 3 people.
It's a growing trend that we're seeing in Northeast Iowa, that we just have higher percentages than the rest of the state, and frankly, than the rest of the country. While that number continues to grow, we're still seeing level federal funding for this decade services and increasing costs. So, you know,
People are still choosing to retire here, even though it's frigid Arctic weather.
we continue to, you know, find the best ways we can to eliminate overhead costs, so most of our funding can go to direct services. Seeking out innovative partnerships like we're doing with our pop-up meal sites, seeking out grants, funding, things like that. And, you know, requesting here, we are required to seek out local public match for those federal funds, but we do everything else possible.
Do you have any RSVP volunteers that help you?
We do. They've been very involved with our home delivered meal program.
And do you ever partner with the community meal in Decorah?
No, we haven't. No.
That's another outreach avenue, I would
It
think.
is, and we've referred people, you know, when people do call into our information and assistance line, we're coming up with all options for them. I mean, there's just some people that are really destitute, and so we just want to provide all the options possible.
The story that you shared with us is probably one of many that are like that. It's hard to find them all.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you're able to help.
And it's hard for people to come forward and ask for that help. you know, so we really work hard too with just our outreach, wanting to educate people about the programs available. I mean, to find out a Medicare premium now is $202 a month right now that people are paying out of their Social Security, and to find out that that could be taken
Covered.
care of to put forth towards groceries and other living expenses, that's a really big deal for some of our folks on that fixed
A
income.
third of her income she's budgeted out down to the penny.
Yeah.
Was able to be assisted through these programs that
Mhm.
exist.
So thank you for having us.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you, great work.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Marx and Clarke with some quotes for some security upgrades.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have copies for everything. Follow along and look at what we've discovered. Tell you what, Dan, I would share a pair and then I'll give it to you. when we're done.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Good morning. As you will recall, back December 22nd, approved the 2026 courthouse security plan. And some of the items that we had discussed was bollards and a replacement railing for the area between the old jail and the annex. There's a bit of a woven wire that's all pushed out. There used to be a basketball court back here at one time. So we went out, got some quotes from local vendors, and this is what we came up with. The railing that's to the west of this building is done by the same people. They're different name at that time. It's Wilchin Manufacturing, but now Northeast Iowa metal. And they'll match up that railing with this. That's replacement of this, will be the exact same thing. These are the numbers we came up with. You'll notice on the Northeast Iowa Metalworks, 9,260.10. That's the exact amount. The person who sent this didn't realize that we were tax exempt. And this is just for anybody that's wondering how bollard works. This is just something I pulled off from a vendor. This is not anybody that, I don't know if Skyline uses them or not. That's Skyline for the bollards. This is to give you an idea of how a bollard is placed. And we had a pretty good discussion. Sheriff Marx, myself, and Emergency Manager Sean Snyder walked around with Jesse Delaney, looked at the various areas, and we came up with a total of 9 that would protect the critical infrastructure, such as the annex, such as the front door on the west side, and other areas that were identified in our security audit that we had last year. That is what precipitated us rewriting the security plan for the courthouse. As you recall, when you read through it, you saw these were things that needed to be addressed. These are the things we're going to start out with. Currently, we have in the operating budget, this is for the building and repair and maintenance, there's $108,771. And in the security area of that same budget, that's Department 10 courthouse, there remains $14,878.27. And this is appropriated money, so we're not requesting new money. This is appropriated money. Always good to turn back money. And courthouse last year returned from the fiscal year 24-25, $100,799 for building repair and maintenance and $14,886 for security purposes. So there is money available for this. And I will remind you that this railing seems a little high, but the removal and matching what we have here, the safety that we will receive from having this in. This is something that somebody climbs over it. I'm not speaking for the county attorney, but I would have to imagine that to be quite more defensible if something went wrong. I'll remind you though, we do have a ongoing expense in a different area that is 1/3 of that amount every single month for $40,800 a year for something that we just can't get out of the contract. So this is money well spent in our view.
What the bollards don't cover, and frankly, we didn't even bring forward that quote, especially with the fence coming in higher than what we had anticipated. It doesn't cover, I know it briefly in conversation, at least during our security portion of our meeting. I think I can talk about that in open meeting. At least during the security portion of our meeting, to put bollards along the front of the courthouse, basically along the south side of the courthouse, more or less. Just, not only for safety, but to protect the integrity of the courthouse if, frankly, from bad drivers, would, you know, so if something would happen there and hit the side of the courthouse. But right now, with the way these quotes came in, we thought this might be a good place to start, just in the name of being cost effective. And the places that we thought were probably the most immediate need. We can always address that later on if it comes to it, but this would incorporate protection along the front corner here, the main area of the annex building, of course, when meetings like this are conducted. It would protect, it puts a few bollards in front of the jail that probably can't be replaced if that's hit. And then it protects, as Tony mentioned, the front or main access, so that'd be the west entrance of the courthouse. So that would be the main place of the bollards. As far as the fence back here, as Tony made mention of, you know, liability issue right now, all we have is a dilapidated picnic table protecting the steps, and perhaps that could be improved upon.
One of these gonna be put over there to keep. the
Yes,
vehicles
there
from
will be for prevent, as we have the wayward driver, and also by having it in the and then we also, when we talked to Jesse Delaney of Skyline, we indicated that snow removal, we want to have this so the snow removal is easy process. So the way he felt that these could be lined up, it would, as Sheriff Marx mentioned, they'll protect the old jail, but it also will keep people from going around on that sidewalk to the east and protect that utility kiosk, which if, let's say, wayward driver would have hit that, that would have been a major outage there. So yes, it does cover, this is, we look at this as these are the critical areas. This is where we can start at, see how it works out. And these are very permanent items. They have a plastic sleeve for the bollard. Should somebody run into it, the only damage is going to be the sleeve will be marred up. These things are, yeah, if you think of Walmart, when you enter Walmart, it's going to be very similar to that. Spacing, not quite as dense as what they have there. But it will provide protection. The Jersey barrier that's out there right now can be removed, and the bollard would be in such a way as that you can just work behind it with the snow blower, and it'll provide access for when we use a skid loader to clear out snow. Providing the safety for somebody ramming this building or wayward driver.
There are several things we tried to be mindful of, and Tony did a more eloquent job than me. I think I called them bad drivers. He calls them wayward drivers. That probably hits home a little better. But we tried to look at snow removal and maintenance, so they're not sticking out and causing problems. We knew that would probably be the next complaint, that we cause problems for snow removal, so we're trying to keep them close enough for that. Obviously, we looked at aesthetics. So the sleeves are looking at being black rather than a bright color that would take away from the courthouse campus. And then obviously the other side would be cost. We tried to place them strategically, so we don't have any more than we'd have to. And then the other last two pillars, which led to this whole discussion, were obviously security, goes without saying. But I think the second part not only speaks to responsibility that we have to future generations, but I think it also speaks to fiscal responsibility. I think putting these protections up in front of the jail and eventually, hopefully, if the money's there, the courthouse, I think speaks to our responsibility to the next generation to maintain these historic buildings properly, because once they're damaged or gone, we will never, ever replace them. And number two, if they are able to be replaced, if they're damaged or run into, I would venture to guess it would not be at a very economical cost. So if we could prevent it to begin with, I think this initial quote, we'll call it a little less than 10,000, will probably seem like a drop in the bucket for what repairs to our courthouse would cost us. And I personally believe if we're stewards of the facilities we have, our courthouse can be in operation for many, many years to come, and thus save the county. On top of it, as a side benefit, lots and lots of money versus building something else.
To refresh the memory of people who weren't aware of the errant driver, how far did he get around the courthouse towards the steps?
Nearly all the way around, almost to the steps. And it was Michael Kenny, the road engineer, and at that time, road superintendent Jeff Kopashek, one of the people in the engineer's office, noticed that they ran out, were able to stop this person and slowly get them to back around. But they got, instead of going west out, they saw, well, this is the way to go. And they would have probably made it, once they got to the very front steps area where there's a bit of a slope, they could have slid off there. But yes, that was a wake up. Yes, this can happen with somebody that it was unintended. I made a mistake. I went the wrong way. However, somebody that does intend to go the wrong way, that is something that we want to preclude. This is where this comes in a little over 19,000, but the two bollards and the railings. One, the railings, you're heading off any sort of liability issue. Right now, you have a major liability issue. And by having the railing in place with signage that has the appropriate language that's recommended by our county attorney, if you're on the other side of that, you were well warned. You were told this is not a place to be. Plus, it's going to be something like what we have out there right now that will last for a very long, long time, as will the bollards. And as Sheriff Marx pointed out, a good investment for us as preserving the integrity of our courthouse square, security, and heading off any liability issues.
And to remind people, this was the continuation of the program that we started last year to remove the steps, repair the wall, and stop that access point because we had a hazard. We had a hazard with the steps that were there. And so we eliminated those, and this is the continuation of doing that work.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, so this will be the completion of that with something that will have a gate exactly like it's out here to go down that lower platform, would be a gate for maintenance access to get out to. There is a fire escape that goes up to the upper level of the old jail, but just to provide for our purposes, for courthouse employees, designated employees to have access out there. But otherwise, the gate has where we can put a hasp lock on it, just like we have there.
You asked, got close to how many people?
These were the two vendors that we have dealt with in the past. These are the two vendors that can do the job. There's nobody else that can handle the bollards, the metal work. I'm sure you could probably find somebody else, but they already did this work here. They did an exceptional job. I know that other departments have been using Northeast Iowa Metalworks. They have found them to be extremely good. So rather than have 4 or 5 people come in and hit close here, but having somebody that we know is reliable that can do the job. And Skyline told us they'd be in and out in less than a day.
On the aesthetics part, what about dark brown? I know this is like asking how many cup holders in a van before you buy it, but what about brown instead of black?
I think, I got the impression, I mean, I don't know that I directly asked that question, so I want to be careful, but I got the impression it could probably be kind of whatever we wanted it
Whatever
to
you
be,
want.
because even if they can't come, I think they said they could get, I'm trying to recall, I think they said they could get black sleeves pretty economically.
Red,
Yeah,
those are some of the.
yeah, I think that they had a few staple colors that, you know, they come that way.
I've seen them in this dark brown and it just blends into a
Yeah,
natural.
And what I'm getting at is I don't know if they're painted or if they can get them that way or if, but the short answer, I don't think there's a reason we couldn't do brown. That I don't know what that would take, but I agree. I think brown would look very nice as well. I think as long as it's a dark color, but I think brown would certainly, yeah, I mean, I don't get the impression we're too pinched off on colors.
No, the black just came up because
big concrete block.
Yeah, exactly.
black came up because our railing is black, and that was just, and we didn't want to go with the fluorescent.
No.
That was just the color that was discussed at the time. The discussion mainly based upon placement, cost, and distribution of the bollards to get the most effect.
Yeah, we briefly touched on color because that was a concern I had as well. I wanted to make sure they weren't canary yellow or something, you know, and but as Tony said, the bulk of our conversation was how do we put the least amount of bollards in the most effective areas to keep costs down, and then how do we put them in so we're not getting nasty grams from maintenance people. Now we can't plow around this stuff or can't maneuver our vehicles, so we don't have them sitting out to get them close enough to the building that they were the least intrusive, but yet far enough away that they did their job. But I did ask about color. I just don't recall the exact how that response went, but the short answer is I think we can put any color we want.
Would it be reasonable to say that if brown is available, we can get brown instead of black?
Yes.
And we'll just leave it at that.
I think as Sheriff Marks pointed out, these plastic sleeves they probably have a color palette that's somewhat endless, whatever color you specify. Sleeves, of course, being the protective, and if they get damaged, it's very easy to swap one out and put a new one on.
This is kind of a tangent from what we're talking about, but when you turn money back in from the maintenance budget for the courthouse, I really would like to see us look at putting some of that turn back money instead into some type of money earning account so we can save money for that top of the courthouse.
That is a topic that the auditor has brought up, and is something to have a consideration. What we're looking at here is with what's already allocated for the security portion of the budget is just slightly $5K over that, with the fact that there is right now in excess of $100K available. So what we're asking is nothing new, nothing exorbitant, nothing that's not already been allocated.
Someone like to take action?
Move to accept these quotations and proceed with the safety recommendation.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the quotes. One from Skyline Construction for $9,530. The other from Northeast Iowa Metal Works Incorporated for $9,260.10. Is there any further discussion?
When would this installation take place?
Skyline was, they're pretty open, and I would imagine that with the weather as it is right now, that we'd be booking in pretty early for these projects with Northeast Iowa Metal Works. So these were things that they felt, because most of the work that Northeast Iowa would do would be in their shop, fabrication, painting. Then they would remove the old pipe and woven wire and install that. So that would probably be just a day of the installation. Fabrication being something they do in the shops, so they'd be able to hit it as soon as the weather improves. Same thing with Skyline, they indicated that day would be the most they would be here.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
you want Dan to find one of those?
Yes,
Skyline one?
the Skyline one will require a signature. This is required there. I will contact these two vendors. I will scan to Mr. Delaney, the signed one that being signed right now, and get this going. I'll keep you apprised as to how it goes, and we'll look into brown sleeves.
No, that's picky.
No.
When you look at the whole landscape of the campus here,
You want to hold this for just now?
No, you can take it, but should we build this in Winneshiek County? And
Okay, next item on the agenda, the Winneshiek County Fair Board, just sit and wait patiently. I'm sorry, John.
you're out on the fair board.
You're fair, but not that.
John's been waiting patiently too. You guys can have a chair.
We can make enough copies of that.
Oh, that's
We
right.
could show.
We can make some. No, I got enough budgets. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
Well, I want to thank you guys for allowing us here. Once again, we're here for the Winneshiek County Fair here and the Ag Association. Requesting some funds, whatever, support our fair, keep it going, whatever and stuff like that. I gave you a budget of kind of what we did. We've really cut our budget down probably by $150 to $1,000 off of the fair expense this year. Because last year we really struggled. We did not make money. We lost a fair amount. Weather has a lot to do with it, and people's, just can't afford to do everything either and stuff like that. So we went down to one night of music, and we're gonna do one night of stock car races, tractor pull, a rodeo. We're gonna try something different. We're gonna do a school bus race with a Crown Vic races. That's where local people can bring a thing in, and we're on a track there, and then they get paid back. So that's one event that really ain't gonna cost us money per se to put on, whatever. Well, whatever to get for the entry fee gets back out, and it's just something different. Just we just want to get a different crowd of people there or whatever. So, and then I gotta apologize. They still got you guys at 12,500 last year. I don't know where they take this money. I swear before I get off the board, we're gonna figure it out. Where they get, because you guys gave us 25,000 last year.
It's 12,500 to the Winneshiek County.
Probably just to the fair part.
The other 12,500
Yeah, okay.
was toward
Okay.
the grounds and buildings. So
Okay, so that's fine then.
Yeah.
So once again, we're asking for 30,000 or whatever you guys can do, whatever. You can see on there, the average of all the counties was 30,000, and you look like our close ones, and that's about what they're averaging too. And once again, whatever you give us, greatly appreciate it, and helps with a lot of other stuff. We're also, without the fair, we're gonna do that, Lewis Lechtenberg Hog Building. We're gonna replace the hog building down there, but all the funds are getting raised right now, and we are getting pretty close to getting that 100% funded by the community, because, well, it was a disaster, kid passed away, and then, you know what that is. So basically, but with doing that, we got to also move electric in the fairgrounds, because we're gonna start burying all the wires, because got to bring new service there. So we're gonna try burying it. So that might be another $100,000 worth of expense we're gonna have to put down there. But I think if you guys ever walk through all them old poles down there, are getting pretty tough shape. If a windstorm would go through there, we'd hope that they'd never blow down and hit somebody, but this day and age, anything can happen, the way this weather changes and stuff. So we're trying to implement all the things all at the same time, whatever.
try to get a bunch put underground.
Yeah, and the last, when we built the last
All the
building,
poles are rotted off, some of them are.
Yeah.
Barely hanging on, just a
And the-
big mess of wires up there, so.
Yeah.
We got a good chunk put under, but you want
Yeah, more underground. Yep, so, yeah, so we buried half it there, and we're gonna, and when we did that, we had the intent of doing this down the road, but now that we're redoing the building, we wanna clean them all up too and stuff like that too and stuff, whatever, so, but basically, I think we done well here. I think we bring a lot to your community, brings the people coming down and everything else and stuff, and, you know,
Well, that new building down there has really been an enhancement for the whole community to use.
it's,
Every weekend there's something going on there, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, we never thought it lasted that much, it's just.
Well, we needed it.
Yeah.
and it's reasonably priced, rent too, for the size of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to put some clarification on that blading and rock down at the fairgrounds?
Okay, yeah, I hate for sure what story got out or what happened there or whatever. You guys, we do not ask you guys to blade there. We hire a guy to blade there all the time. Rock, we asked maybe 4 or 5 times at the most for a little rock over the ice there. One was a funeral for a guy in the community. It got to be just spur them up. We couldn't get nobody else to do it, so we call your road management guy and just ask him if they got time to run by there, if they could do it, whatever. And then we did one was for the 4-H thing. So we don't do it for our own personal thing. It's just when the safety got really bad and when we had our hands kind of thing.
The way you explained it to me was over
It was over 15 years. I've been on the board 15 years and we did not do it over 5 times ever. You know,
It was only an emergency.
it's usually just an emergency
You see,
thing.
when you see a parking lot get completely glazed,
Yeah,
and we had some event that happened that next day, we think, rock down here.
correct. Yeah. And all they do is just drive through, sprinkle it out, go. It maybe takes them, well, whatever it takes to drive around thing. We never request that much, but sometimes when you call the other places, you know, they're all booked up doing everybody else's, and we did not contract anybody for that because we don't know when we got events, and we can't afford to keep dumping rock on a little bit here and there, so, you know. And if we did something wrong, we apologize for that, or if we need to do something right, or is that something that we could do once in a while, I guess?
we can have a discussion with Mike County too. And when it was just brought up to our attention, we're like, was this happening all the time? You know, and that's why I questioned you.
Yeah. Correct, yeah. And like I said, we were hoping we weren't doing nothing wrong or nothing, because basically we are a county thing there anyways, whatever, and then a little bit of rock there. I know it takes time and everybody can't ask for it. I mean, but like I said, we just had our hands tied, like I say, when you got a funeral and, you know, and then a 4-H for the kids things, like I say, you just don't want somebody to fall there
Well,
either.
like so many things that happened. The reality is it was 5 times over 15 years. It
Yes.
wasn't all the time.
Correct, yeah.
It
And
was in a.
Those are very different things.
And when we request it, it's usually, we tell them there's an event coming up on the weekend. They got like 3-day notice, and we just ask them if the weather gets bad, can you take care of that for us, please? You know, well, one time the funeral came in, it was an emergency thing. And I appreciate the guys stepping up and, you know, I mean, I know we all pay taxes in the county and everything else. And to me, I personally, I pay a lot of taxes. I didn't think it was really not seriously wrong, but I know it isn't 100% right. We should probably have some agreement, but at the time we were thinking of the people instead of ourselves at that time, you know. So like I said, it's not for personal gain here. You know, they never buy rock to put into place or nothing else. They never move the snow. Like I says, we got a guy to do that, stuff like that. So it's just if we get an emergency, it's just nice to have a place to call that you can, you know, help it out.
Does anyone have any questions for these guys on this?
How is your observation box there that you read out to people, was that successful this last year?
Yep. That, the stand we put out in the, track, we built that big stand, and Riley, donated that to us. Well, ICAP was on us for our bleachers were really bad out there, and we either had to fix them, so we ended up working with them, and that works really good stand up there. And then we built that other building, the Spildy family, whatever, donated a bunch of that, and Bear Chemical donated. So we rent that out for nights at a fair. So if you want a box place to sit in there. You pay extra money, you can sit in there and watch it, or even at the races if you support so much for the races. And we got another place that wants to do another one of them for us, whatever, because, and I think stuff like that is just, it just brings another, you know, thing to the community. And plus we get some buildings, and underneath that one stand there, the Spielder building, we sell our tickets out of there now for during the fair too. So we utilize it for everything, so, you know. But like I said, everything we're putting there, we do a lot of thinking on it because we don't generate a fortune of money. Obviously, you can see that. We just want to make sure we keep the place going for the community, whatever. And we're all volunteer help here, you know.
With that new building you're building, are you gonna salvage any of the old one or?
Yeah, that, the canopy over the end, we want to move that. It's a 42 by 50. We want to move that out into the fairground somewhere for people to sit under there with picnic tables, eat food, we're hoping to. So we can reuse that. The other part of the building's in tough enough shape, we can't do nothing. So we're working on that now, on moving that somewhere.
You're gonna maybe like recycle concrete and put it back underneath.
Yep. Everything's gonna be recycled
It's gonna
underneath.
get lifted up about 18 inches, so I don't know if you guys have ever been down there and ranged an inch or two with the whole barns on the
That'll help
waterways.
us.
Yeah.
So they're gonna lift it up, so we get these rains.
That would be.
all
I
hogs
would
are
think
in
a
the
lot of
water.
the
Much
lumber
better.
could be reused for building benches or tables or something.
Oh, yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
Rather than, yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Justin had talked about having somebody come in there and take out whatever good wood it is first, before we start destroying it. Yes, yeah, we're gonna salvage anything we can out of there first, you know, whatever, or we're just gonna let, well, I guess I'm be careful how I say that, because otherwise everybody's gonna be down there tearing stuff off, parked there, but we're probably gonna do something that, you know, somebody can have it for the taking and cleaning up. We're, you know, that's still in the discussion. Yes, we do want to recycle that. That's why we're moving that end canopy, and then we're, you know, utilize that at someplace else.
The extra shade.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, because we tried that canopy thing from the sale barn that time, but that got to be a hassle taking up and down. You know, anything. You get the last day of the fair, everybody's half tired and they're tearing stuff down, and it gets to be dangerous. You know. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Next up on the agenda, Jon Lubke. IT and GIS Director of the Budget Review. Looks like you're feeling a little better this week.
Yeah, it was under the weather for sure. I had a fever and so,
No, we don't want you here when you have that either.
no, wouldn't have been good. So I don't know how, if you guys covered some of my budget last week or.
I handed it out and
Okay.
there were a few questions, so I
Right.
asked to have you on the agenda this week. I think Steve had a question.
You know, there may be some, do you understand what that change that's referred to in that Senate Bill 3008 may mean on the E911 and the GIS board thing of this mentioned in that 308?
Yes, I'm
Could
not.
affect, well, there's stuff that was introduced in that bill that I'm not sure if that would affect Reggie and our GIS stuff and so forth. So just take a look at that to see that we're not maybe caught off guard, so that we're well prepared in case the changes come about that impacts your budget. With my issue, Sean Snyder was aware of the bill. He may know some things too about
Okay. I can
that.
You look like you just kept the budget fairly even, just swapped a few departments around.
Yeah, the IT budget is about the same. I did bring the GIS budget up, I think about 15,000, and I think I explained in an email to you guys. Basically, Esri is, everyone's moving to a subscription-based model for their software. We traditionally spend about $10,000 on our GIS software, and that's more than doubling. It's like moving towards 25 or even 30,000. So I'm in the process of looking at what they call an enterprise agreement. And so based on our population, Esri basically says, you know, you can basically have everything that we offer, like the software package, for X amount of dollars. And so I'm looking pretty hard at that. They actually kind of transition us into that. So they give us a 50% discount the first year, 25 the next year, and then full price year 3 and after that. It also allows us to possibly work with subs. So City of Decorah, City of Kelmer, some of the smaller cities, we could actually host a server for them.
You made mention of issues with the current phone system and perhaps some future changes on that. Is that progressing into this 26, 27 years?
We might even be working on that here right away in 26. The current phone system is about 11 or 12 years old, and it basically, 25 isn't supported any longer. Again, that system is moving to a subscription model. The city and the county actually share that phone system. And so we're looking at continuing that partnership. But we probably have to make a decision here in the next 30 days, even as far as the direction we want to go in. So we've entertained bids from, I think, about 4 different companies right now. So we're actually going to be meeting with one of those companies today. So we should have a kind of a direction by the next week or 2, actually.
Are
Move
you-
this-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The information technology group from the state that works with all of you now through ISAC, right?
Yes.
Are you working through them to get some of these connections with new companies and what we're doing to improve our IT?
Sure, we're always reaching out to them. They actually have a Slack channel, and then, we're friends with quite a few of the other county IT directors. It'll be interesting to see what, I keep trying to get the ICN to change the ability for counties to use the ICN. I think that's a legislative change that has to be made, but it would be great if something like that were to happen. And that would give all the counties in the state of Iowa access to the ICN at various levels.
So if we have a disaster now and we lose power, we're on the phone, is that correct?
Not necessarily. I mean, most of that is all power over Ethernet. And so a lot of the systems could live for 30 to 60 minutes. Since we don't have a generator at the courthouse, some of those phones would be offline after a certain time. Law center would be fine.
But you don't have a generator in your budget.
No. No, I mean, we have a generator in this building, or for this, there's a server room here in this building. It's just the switches that are spread out throughout the courthouse are only gonna run for, like I said, 30 to 60 minutes typically. Just enough time to get everything kind of shut down and
transferred here. or
transferred here, yes.
Then we have, so yeah, we're looking, if we put a backup generator on the 3-phase courthouse, we could be spending at least $100,000.
Nice thing to have, but
Big bite.
big bite. I mean, traditionally, the city of Decorah, Alliant Energy does a great job. I mean, I think maybe a couple of years ago, we were out for close to a day, but typically it's less than minutes.
Anyone have anything else for John this morning? Thank you.
No, thanks.
Thank you, John.
For clarification.
And we'll skip over the miscellaneous items for right now, just running late. We're in the county engineer's office here. Morning, guys.
I guess speaking of power outages and storms, Michael got caught in a storm out east, so he's, I think, on his way here, but his flight was delayed, so Matt and I are filling in. I guess the first thing, I believe Michael's talked to you about this before, but this is just need signatures on the title sheet for the seal coat project that's gonna be on County Road W40 And then A14 in the Hesper area.
We all need to
We all have to sign it. Does that have to be in blue ink?
Yeah, blue's great. Yep, contrasting ink. So this is a project similar to what we did last year on B32 and then the previous year on New Ridge Road. So we're gonna get that out for letting and hopefully we'll get decent prices on it.
W40 is this one you said?
So
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
So you'll have complaints about.
Yeah, and that's one of the factors we might change is we do have kind of a contingency built in for fog sealing and dust control. So, and right now we're thinking that the A14 portion and the W40 portion from the state line through Hesper, we might not do the whole thing, just do those sections. And that's based on traffic count. There's a higher traffic and this road isn't, you know, B32 last year has about twice the volume that this road has. as far as traffic goes. So thank you.
Would someone like to take action on the W40 contract?
I move to approve the W40 contract.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to accept the W40 contract. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None. Okay.
And then Matt has, we got the letting back from the DOT last year for the bridge up by Highlandville, Bridge 126. So
Last week, Burning Construction was, red low, so Mike will be presenting that to you probably next week.
we did get two bids on it.
Yeah.
How's it look compared to your estimates?
It's about 2.9% under our engineer's estimate, so. yes.
What bridge is that again?
Bridge number 126,
So that'll be next week.
yes.
That's a bridge, not a culvert.
It's gonna be a culvert,
It's a twin box.
twin box culvert.
And we've been working with the DNR and stuff too. We have some things we're gonna do that because there is trout there. It's considered a protected stream, so we've been working with the local DNR as well as the state, so get that all with them as far as the fish habitat goes.
Looks like we have to approve the union contract change also.
We're not, yeah, Mike thought he was maybe gonna Skype the meeting, but he wasn't getting reception, so
Okay.
I don't see him on.
We'll put that on next week.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, thank you much.
Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, cheers.
Back up to the miscellaneous items, first of which is to approve the health insurance rates for year ending 27.
This is what Brian presented last week. So I need an approval on the Walmart contract and the rates.
I'd move to approve the Walmart contract and rates provided by Brian Hooker, Walmart Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Second.
Mark.
He's got the delay.
We have a motion and a second to approve the health insurance rates for year ending 27. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Next up, accept, file, and publish treasurer's semi-annual report.
I emailed this out so you could review it ahead of time. In the newspaper after you approve it.
Move to approve treasurer's report.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept, file, and publish the treasurer's semi-annual report. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next up is the jail fees resolution.
Yeah, so Dan Marks emailed this out. Basically, we're just getting these updated from several years since they raised the jail fees costs, so you saw this ahead of time, and it's a resolution to set those rates.
Still cheaper than a hotel.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
guys.
coming, you guys.
Did you make a motion?
I move to approve the rates.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the jail fees resolution.
Aye.
Shirley,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I also passes unanimously. Next up is the resolution for the full-time county attorney.
And I included this. I didn't know if you would be ready to act on it today or not, but we can put it off if you aren't ready to. Basically, the question is the salary needs to be filled in.
Does everybody plan on being here next week?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
let's push that off till next week then. That way we can have the discussion.
Jail fees.
That sounds good.
To do the resolution, then we got to come up with a dollar amount, right, Ben?
You can need the dollar amount to do the resolution. To the part of the resolution, the dollar amount.
Okay.
I'm fine with doing it Monday.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
let's do that.
Okay.
All right,
Then I have a bunch of budget things if you're ready to.
let's sneak the consent agenda
Oh,
real
yeah.
quick. Last week we tried forgetting about it.
Yeah.
Got the minutes, the claims, got a liquor license for Harvest Farm Campground, and accept and file the VA monthly report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? None. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, passes unanimous. All right.
You have a claims that's going around to get signed.
I can start one.
And Mark, I put the claim sheet in your bin there with the rest of the stuff.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Budget discussion.
Do the chart with the fees, or we can do the, I have the, mentioned, last week you approved the 3% on the raises, and so I had three things that were in addition to those. It's the 50 cents shift differential for sheriff's patrol deputies. That would take them to $1.50, which would match what the dispatchers are getting starting July 1. There was an increase in the stipend for the canine handler of $1,200 a year. That's to get closer to the compliance of with the federal law, and then an increase of $2,500 for the budget director stipend.
Yeah.
Any discussion on any of those, or if you can approve them all as one go, that's up to you guys.
So on the $1.50, we did up the jailers to that at our meeting that day. So it hadn't been done for years. They were at like 70 or 80 cents. So we upped it to $1.50, and that's where kind of this comes in at too.
I would approve those recommendations.
I would second that.
Motion and a second. Those increases in the wages.
And
You don't actually need a motion, but I can put it in as a motion because it'll be actually approved as part of your budget, so I'm just looking for consensus to include those in the,
Yes.
Fine.
yep.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Withdraw the motion.
Take that.
So yeah, I'm hoping that by next week I can have a first run. To do that, we need to have numbers to put in on this chart for all the requests. And, I mean, you can always, I would recommend at least going on the higher side now because we can lower them afterwards if we need to. Because things don't look good after the first run, but I'm also gonna still need Michael's budget, which I haven't gotten yet to get first run. So I'm hoping that he'll get back this week and can get that to me so that I can be ready for a first run next week.
I could send you one, Ben. I got one here.
Oh, you got the budget. So yeah, he
Yeah.
emailed it to you knowing he wasn't gonna be here, but he didn't give it to me.
Yeah, I stopped and picked one up Wednesday before I left.
Okay.
Probably. They would have put two of them in. Huh?
There was one for everybody, yeah. I actually emailed it to Mark too. So
Yeah, I got one, so I printed it up.
There's a blank one in your box as well, Mark, but
I followed, there was a question mark on it.
so yeah, the timeline, they work back from the budget approvals due by the end of April, so I'm planning the actual budget public hearing for the 27th. But we have to do about a month before that, we have to do a public hearing on the levy rates, so that's gonna be March 30th. And to be able to have that budget hearing, we need to have the information to the newspaper to publish 3 weeks before that. So we basically have till the end of February to have everything finalized. So my goal is that we can have a first run next week, February 2nd. Go through that and maybe it'll all look great and we can just keep that as our run. But if not, and we need to make changes, then we have a couple weeks yet to get that all figured out. So I mean, it isn't imperative that we have a first run next week, but I don't want to put it off too long either. February 9th is that meeting, your regular business part of your meeting will be shorter because or that's maybe the next week. We've got that meeting with Upper Florida one that is going to be at the end of the meeting. And so it might actually be next week. So then I might have to have Michael actually talk through his budget with you after I've already done the first run. As long as I have the numbers for that first run, it'll be okay.
Why don't we run the first run with the asks? And then when we've got a total picture, then we'll have a better feel of how we address them in the final.
Run the
number.
first one on
Run
this number.
Run the ask number for now in the first run. And if we make adjustments, we'll see where we are.
That would give us the highest possible
Yeah.
ask number.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if there's some of these that you're not gonna give what they ask, we might as
Yeah.
well look at them. I think there are some board members anyway that have some of these that they don't want to.
Yeah, the water quality network, we don't have, because we give enough to we give to the Turkey Valley watershed they do studies, and you can go over to Doug's office and get your water tested there too if you want. So I see that's a 0 for me.
That's not a 0 for me.
I feel we should be funding that, or at least half of it.
No,
I don't know, I'd like to know the city of Decorah would be, if they're gonna be contributing towards that or not. And if we could at least split the difference on that with them.
No, I'm a 0 on
Think
that.
there's any harm in running this number with the asks as they are and then going down from there?
There's some, I mean, if we decide we don't want it to begin with, it's no use putting it in there. That's where
I would be with Mark on that.
What?
I'm sorry.
The water quality
Water
network.
quality one,
Not doing it?
not.
Why?
$17,000.
Would you guys be willing to do 8,500 for one of the 4 that are in our
No.
watershed?
Because the Turkey Valley, they
This
do
is the
9
pre-
spots.
The bad thing about this one is that they used to have state funding and they're
Right.
pulling the funding, and if they would have continued their share, it would make, they wouldn't have to come to you, but.
Right. They're discussing it at the State House. It's less than 50% chance right now. Probably they'll reinstate it. It was removed for political reasons. The water monitoring across the entire state. There are 4 of them up here. It helps the farmers to measure success of conservation efforts in capturing nitrates and runoff in our state. And when you look at the water resources or the resources study we did for the whole county with Luther a couple of years ago, over the importance of protecting water resources, 98% agreed or strongly agreed that that's something that the whole county is interested in. And that included 40% of the respondents being rural members of our county. They came from all over the county and answered those surveys. So
That's not just interested, but that was a priority.
it was a priority, yeah. So I think that to do due diligence to our citizenry, if the state's gonna play games like this and pull the funding for this very important water quality measuring system, then if they choose to reinstate the funding, then we don't have to give the money we pledged to this one of the 4 in our area. If we could at least pay for one of the 4, and maybe we can work with the city of Decorah and see if they could pay for one of the other 4, we could cover half of them. It would be a nice partnership between county and city that way, but it benefits everybody. Everybody wants to know the water, surface water quality of the drinking water in our community.
How about we save that 17,000 for legal fees the next time Driftless Water Defenders sues us?
That's a
Yeah.
silly statement.
It's not
No,
real.
it ain't. It's real.
That had nothing to do with the quality of the drinking water in our,
No.
in our
That's on our
county.
budget.
No.
Goes on our budget.
I think it's in the best interest of the community
Well, I
to
think
help
we
measure what we're
Need to
drinking.
run, have a bigger discussion next week.
The Turkey River watershed, we already fund money to
I think
that.
it's easier. I mean, once
They
you
do
get in there once, it's hard to take it out. So if you know there are any of these you want lower or
Yep.
or don't want at all, we should do it now. And then we have time today. Whereas like next week, we have.
I'd like to see the United Way pulled out. I don't think that's a good thing for us to do. That's done
No.
through the employees.
Yeah, the water quality and the United Way, I'm a 0 on both of them.
I mean, do you want to just start at
He
the
wants-
top and go
Wait,
down?
wait. Mark was talking. We can't hear him very well, and I tried to turn it here.
See if you can speak up, Mark.
I'm all the way up. I'm 0 on United Way and the water quality. I'm 0 on both of them.
He said he's 0 for both the water quality and the United Way.
I agree.
I would like to see us do at least one of the monitoring systems at 8,500.
I would agree with Shirley on that.
Sounds like it's up to you, Steve. Do you want to
I'd
include
say-
any in the water
I'd
quality?
say, you can always put it back in if we, after first run, we see where we are.
We could always take it out after first run.
Ben doesn't want it to, Ben just said that it's more difficult to take out than put
Why
in.
would
so-
that?
Well, he said, you're the one that suggested run everything at full
Yeah.
speed, so.
I'm not saying it's more difficult one way or the other. I'm just saying it makes more sense to, if you know there's some that you aren't going to include, to just not include them or they're going to be lower. than
Yeah.
what's requested. I mean, I was kind of like, we had time today. I thought we'd go through one at a time, but it's up to you, I guess. I don't think we'll have as much time next week because of that Upper Explorer Lab thing.
We have to
So
push them off.
that's been scheduled for a while now, and we've got all them plates notified.
Yeah, so we can pause.
We could do that
pause the meeting and
afterwards.
come afterwards. I say no on the United Way.
No on the United Way. How about the water quality? You want to know on that one, or what were you on that one?
I'd say no on that one. We're already doing water with monitoring stations that we help pay for up there on nitrates and so forth on multiple locations, and we have that
Where?
funding in here.
He's talking about the Upper Iowa River watershed testing.
Yeah.
I think what's happened is that we have a board that may not have all the information needed to make this vote on the importance of these monitoring systems. It's all about the drinking water. And I think with your cancer rates in Iowa being as high as they are, we do want to continue to monitor this. It helps the farmers also know that whether or not their conservation efforts upstream are working, it's in everybody's best interest to keep these water monitors up and running.
I think I'm hearing 3 no's.
I'd say
Yep.
we can always, if you want to bring back, since I remember in that presentation that the biggest source of the nitrates and so forth came from Decorah, if you have
That's
some
not
different.
what the presentation
That,
said.
that wasn't nitrates, that was another,
That
that
was
wasn't
not what the
nitrates on
presentation
that.
said.
That was a different water sample.
Understood?
What would
I can bring it back.
be coming from lawn?
No, let's take it, I say take it out, and if we want to put it back in, we'll have more discussion next week.
Yep.
The only other one.
United Way's been mentioned twice. There were two people who didn't want to fund that. What's the?
I was out.
I'm out. Mark's
I'm out.
The other one I had the questioning on, not that I'm against the library, but the library funding increase.
15,000.
And that, like I mentioned, when we had the valuation report, that's tied to the valuation. So
And we're paying twice what we're required to pay.
it's true. Now, the issue is that if you go with just the contract amount, or the libraries will get less money than they got the current year.
So to keep all the libraries funded at the same, what we did last year, we'd have to kind of change our agreement for the contract structure
Yeah.
and give the smaller libraries an increase over that.
Yeah, the problem is that the current contract puts a fixed amount, which is $3,825 per library, and then the rest is split up by the percentage of used. This was established 25 years ago. So that 3825, that fixed amount, has never changed over all those years. So that flat amount isn't going up as the value goes up. So then most of the new money always goes to the Decorah library because they have the highest percentage. So that's why they've been asking for an additional 3,000 per library or whatever to help. But they really, in my opinion, what they should do is they should increase that fixed amount in the contract so that each library gets a fixed amount first and then split the rest up by a percentage, and then it will help. They don't have to ask for the extra every time. But
I'm fine with the same dollar amount from last year. That's not a decrease in the libraries. It's just the structure.
if you took, say, instead of funding the 3,000 extra per library, if you did 2,000 extra per library, that would, let me just double check here, would give each library at least as much as they got last year.
Can we lower the percentage rate?
That would be taking 15,000 or 3,000, 5,000 out of the request. So,
I think Mark had a comment.
Hey, Ben, can we lower the percentage rate or are we locked in on that?
that's the library's agreement, and actually Dan met with them about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, and they agreed to keep the percentages the same, and so I mean, that's something they have to agree to if they want to change those percentages.
See, that actually.
No, I mean the 12% instead of the 18%. Not the percentages.
Oh, the
per
total,
library.
the 18 cents per thousand, I mean.
18 cents, can you lower
Yeah,
that?
I mean, that's
or-
what's agreed to in this contract you have with the library association.
Okay.
So unless you want to meet with them and ask for a change, I don't think you have time to get that all organized before we do our budget.
No.
But that might be something to consider, especially if they're going to, depending on what the final bill that comes out with property tax reform, if it continues to limit our growth in the rural fund, we can't continue to pay them based on the full valuation if our growth is going to be limited every year, because theirs is going to keep going up as the valuation goes up.
And it all comes out of the rural fund.
Yeah.
Which we're actually,
That's our tightest one this year.
yes, we're gonna have to give the road department a larger percentage increase. And that's the same thing that's happened here on the library association.
I mean, I think it'd be reasonable if you're trying to find a middle ground is to do 2,000 extra per library instead of 3,000, that would take 5,000 out of this line and still give each library about what they got last year, and then Decorah's getting the
Our smaller ones are gonna get $1,000 less.
Smaller ones get,
than what they requested. They'll still be about what they got last year.
and they're all struggling, all the small libraries are
Yeah.
really struggling.
Because $5,000 is
For a
equal to the,
Increase stuff.
$5,000 would be equal to what the 6.35% would be. If we took $5,000 off, that would be equal to the 6.35%.
That would be closer to what the actual increase in the rural
yeah.
fund
Yep,
is.
if I got it figured
That
right,
would be
pretty close
So
to.
you're at 191,620.
Yeah.
What? What's wrong with that?
191,620.
That's fine.
Everyone okay?
191,620.
And I would recommend then after this budget and after we find out what happens with property tax reform, that we're gonna have to go back to libraries and talk about, because I don't think it's sustainable for you to keep giving them 18 cents per thousand.
No.
If they're going to change the way property taxes are calculated, especially if they get rid of some of these the rollbacks changes that they're talking about. Our property values might double for some, or go up significant 50% or whatever, because they're going to limit you on the taxing end to 2%. So you can't give libraries 30 or 50% more just because the value went up that much, because they've restructured the whole thing. So you might have to create this. I would recommend the contract is find a new base amount per library, and then find instead of so many cents per thousand, say that we'll give an increase in whatever our total taxing increase is in the rural fund. So like this year it's at about 6%. So we would do 6% increase, or if it's rather than basing it on about 18 cents per thousand. That's what's wrong with the current system. But that's a whole big discussion you'll have to have with them, and I might include me too, because to understand these figures.
I'm comfortable with what we just discussed for the 191,620.
Many of these requests were the same as last year, so those are pretty straightforward. You want to look at least at any of them that are increases and see if you agree on those before.
Well, the Fair Board was one we just heard from. It's an increase.
5,000 total. To 2,500 in each category. Do you want to keep them at what they were at, or do you want to try the amount that they requested?
I would do the 12,500 in both lines. What we gave them last year.
Same as you gave them last
Yeah, we
year.
cut them from 15 to 12.5 last year.
And again,
I'm okay with the 12.5 on each line.
EMS requested, same as they requested last year, but you cut them to 7,500. Do you want to do the 10, or do you want to do what they got last year?
I would say leave them at the 75 for another year and see what it's like next year.
This is
We
the
kept it-
emergency
Kept it
medical.
the same
Yeah.
for,
Steve Vandenbrink.
I'm sorry, Mark, we could not hear
He
you.
said,
I would
he
say-
said go to 10.
I would say keep it at 75 for
Oh,
another.
he said 75, he said 10.
I'm inclined to do the 10, because I know that they need to train up some more people.
And while they're still looking into this, establishing medical emergency or EMS as an essential service and them getting their own levy, maybe you do a little bit more this year, because that's something that I know that Steve Vandenberg has been working on. So,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, good. We'll do that.
Helping services is the same, community actions the same, RC&D is the same. The housing trust, you already signed a pledge letter for them, that's why I put that in there. NEI 3A are asking for a increase. You just heard from them today.
Last year we funded them half.
I think
I
it's
support
a
them completely.
strong service that's provided, and I also, I just think they do great work for the
And they-
money that we give them. The return that we get is well worth it, so I would keep them at their full ask.
And they're a strong partner to these other programs.
Yes.
I would say 4,000, I don't know. They do a lot of overlapping with a lot of other things. That's the
I
biggest
could do
thing.
the 4,000. I was thinking
How about
half of this
45?
6,500, which would be less, but
Yeah,
3250 is what you were thinking probably, but
that's what I was, but I go 4,000.
Yeah, this is the best presentation they've ever made. Beyond a shadow of a
I
doubt.
thought it was interesting with their homemaker services that they offer.
I know that they are a very vital partner to Northeast Iowa Community Action. I'm on that board. The work that Northeast Iowa Agency on Aging does for the elders in this community is huge. And the partnerships they have with other organizations, such as Community Action, is so vital. We're talking 1 in 3 people in Winneshiek County are older, and that's gonna grow. So I'm still comfortable with the 6,500 for them.
How about if we compromise at 5,000?
Let's go back to their last year's request of 4,700.
I guess I'd go with the 47 if that's everybody would do with their last year's ask.
before you okay to 4,700. It was already more than Dan wanted to do, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah.
This game.
And I'm not out to win on
No,
this.
I know.
No.
I want to do what's
Okay.
best for most of the people in our
Let's do
county.
4,700.
4,700. The next one is Riverview. They asked for 1,000 increase.
I'm good with that
They
one
do
as
really
is.
great work. I would say leave it at 95.
I agree.
Given so many of the other committees I'm on, the cuts that are happening and the centralization, I guess. Deregionalization.
Yeah, they've been going up 1,000 a year since 23-24.
So we leave it at
Dan,
I'm at 85.
9,000.
Sounds like an auction.
Where
Where are you at, Mark?
I don't know. I'd stay at the 85. I guess I would. One of these years, we're gonna get caught and we ain't gonna have money to give anybody.
How about 9,000?
Let's do 9,000.
I'd stay at the 85.
You're 9,000.
You're two.
There were 9,000 and 185. So what do you guys, where do you want to land on that?
I was at the 85, but
That would be 285s.
They're doing a lot of work.
So it'll be
also
up to
with
Steve again.
the Increase in the
Usually
sex
85.
trafficking work. It's pretty important work.
It's not 95, it's 9.
Yeah, since they've been going up every year, I'd leave it at 85.
85, I hear 385s. Put that in that way. Next one is the same as last year. Turkey River Watershed, you kind of pledged that. Basically, it's 250 per entity, and you've been covering the other small cities that are in that. You already said take United Way out. The Upper Explorer lands have already been basically agreed to at the Upper Explorer Land Board. Upper Iowa Watershed is the same. You already did the fair. Development tourism is the same. Preservation is the same. You did the library. Cemetery is the same. and the RC or soil and water's the same, so
Would
looks
it
like
be-
we have some numbers to. Oh,
What do they base that Pioneer Cemetery one off of again?
it was their mowing contracts mostly.
Yeah.
And some fuel increases for the small amount of fuel.
Could we just up that to 10,000?
I'm sure they wouldn't say no to money, but
What they're doing, that's
But
mean,
they
if
only
you wanted
asked for
to-
9,650.
I know. They're
They
just
got-
trying to be off
know,
of Marx.
they just want to be-
Cemetery.
Well, the water quality network's trying to be pretty damn
I think
modest
you think
too.
they're alive.
$350.
I'd go to 10,
I do the 10.
long term.
I'm not in favor of going to 10, but not against buying cemeteries. What'll happen if they, if we do away with the townships? Who's gonna deal with the fire and cemeteries, I think, are included in that?
yeah, so these are different cemeteries.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying,
I mean, the county would have to then absorb it.
talking about EMS and all these other things.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be, but
I don't know what there's been so many different bills down there. I haven't tried to get familiar with all of them. I've read through three of the property tax proposal bills, and the 2% limits for counties is in all three of them. So I think that's very likely to happen. A lot of the other details is different between each bill. I see a lot of pushing, giving more, basically it'll be more burden on the counties to figure out where that money's coming from, because they're gonna give more and more exemptions that are not funded by the states. And so it'll negatively impact your
Property tax
property
dollars.
values is what's gonna happen. So that's what a lot of those bills are proposing, is that, I mean, yes, I mean, obviously you need to homestead exempt, or homesteads and veterans and so on are all, but the problem is their credits, up until a few years ago, they were credits that the state, they would give a property tax payer something off on their bill, and then the state would give the county that money. And a lot of the current programs are, well, we're still gonna give these people money off their tax bill, but we aren't gonna reimburse it anymore. You just have to absorb it. So I don't know how that's all gonna work in the long run, but
somebody brought up to me about if they do away with townships, then you're not paying the township administrators and important people.
yeah.
But also that the fire will be put back onto the county.
Be
As a whole.
county levy, and that might be where this making, and that's the whole point of this, making emergency medical services. That's mostly centered around ambulance services, but that, which comes out of the same pot as fire services, but maybe they have to then create a new levy that pays for that. I don't know how the county can just say, oh, well, we're gonna start paying all the fire contracts, because there's a lot of money there already included in the township levies to pay for those. So most of our townships are at their maximum fire levy, and then they have to use, if they have contracts for ambulance service, that comes out of that same pot of money. Very few of them have additional levies for taking care of cemeteries or town halls or whatever. So Springville has a town hall and Highland has a town hall and so on, that they can levy money to take care of those buildings, but most of it's fire levy, so.
Maybe they want to have another town hall and an old schoolhouse.
That's Springville, yeah. Well, I have some numbers now to put in the first run. Once I get Michael's numbers and I finish the salary things, we'll hopefully have a first run for you for next week, so you can see how this is looking. For the first run for the county attorney's office, I'll just probably use the current salary, because I don't have any different number of users. That's
Why don't you use the higher of Andy's recommendation?
Yeah, that's
For
what I
now.
was thinking. And then we can back it down.
And there'll be some fluid there, because right now you're paying 2 assistant county attorneys that, so for the first half of next fiscal year, it'll be set up the same way it is. Then the second half, might be completely different. You might be paying more for the county attorney, but you won't have two assistants, and so there'll be some extra money there to offset some of that. I think in the total, the county attorney budget, you'll save money. It'll be less if we find a place to put them. I mean, if we don't have to lease space for them. I mean, right now, we're leasing space at that law office, that if we can find a place to put them on campus, that in total will save some money by doing it that way.
If they're full-time, if they're a partner in another firm, they won't be able to use that,
Right.
that office, I don't think. Move to adjourn.
Wait, we got committee reports.
Committee reports.
The Hawk meeting this afternoon. It's a pretty important one, actually. Find the future of that, and then Department of Corrections on Friday.
I'll be attending the Housing Summit on Thursday at NICC. And then we'll have another opioid settlement task force meeting here at 11 on Friday.
And to clarify, that grant for the Frankville Schoolhouse, I said March 1st, it's March 6th is the deadline date.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know if any of you guys have
So we're submitting.
found funding for
They're
that.
submitting for it.
No.
Well, she wasn't sure what she was gonna do on that part, but that's when it is due. So we'll have another conservation board meeting in February. before
So I'll turn it down.
Get that little more clarification on that.
Second, the adjourn.
All those in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
Need a delivery.
Thank you.
I gotta go meet a delivery. So.
I have.
Guess I should have brought this
Oh.
up, but I don't think that we're gonna.
Yeah, I thought about just throwing that away, but I thought, well, I'll at least give it to you to see.
Yeah. And
And especially since it's near auction, I figured you would know better than us if we would want to sell that.
for our motion, but
Question for me? Yep, it's still on as long as there's 3 supervisors in the room, so.
I will.
Okay. Oh, yep. And 0, 0.
No, it's not overlap.
9, yep, that's what they requested, 12.
No.
4,700. 8,500. 58, 38, 64, 3, 47, 37, 2,000. 12,500. None of these are officially, I mean, they're gonna have a first run and decide if they're gonna make it.
They either go in person to them or
Yeah.
there's a Teams link.
95, 26. For the libraries, they're going to 191, 620.
I just sent
So that's the base of 2,000 per library. 10,000 for Pioneer Cemetery, and then 25 and 5.
You say 10,000?
Yeah, they round.
Okay, great.
Oh, never mind.
Security project?
Oh, yeah.
Because mine is not.
Was 95.30 for the bollards.
Cars again.
what's that?
If you had to help out very much to get started.
Yeah,
A lot.
1,200.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And
Rail.
I had 2 calls this morning, so I can go back.
Rail.
Go back around. Oh, just let it warm up. You know?
Yeah, just wait.
It's different when you have to go to work or something.
Right out, yeah, right out here where the, look at it. So it's gonna match this. It'll look like that railing right out there.
Okay.
And it'll go out
Around the.
It'll be on this side, Dad, to match the.
See you later.
Good business. Yeah, this is good. That used to go to that stairway that went down, but that's filled in, so we don't want someone to go down there and fall off, basically. So,
I'm really not wanting to go to that.
yeah.
It's not, no, no.
Okay.
I know.
Only other thing was.
On Friday.
And I don't have, I have the new numbers, but I don't have what the old numbers were in my notes. But I can give you, you know, $5
you wanna go
a
to?
day
You
here.
said
There. You want a copy of this?
Excited to go.
Oh, this spring now, in March?
I don't know why.
I think it's gonna be.
Let's go with this
Yeah.
one, because, oh,
Probably more.
Yeah.
it's wrapped up.
Eight.
Notice, it looks like he's gonna publish or something anyway.
Awesome.
You want a copy too?
We're all done in here. There's only 2 supervisors. So you can stop. Thanks. Maybe you already did.